You ever look at a stock chart and just feel lost? Like you're staring at this chaotic, totally unpredictable ocean of information? Yeah, you're not alone. For so many people, the market just feels like noise. But what if there was a way to find the signal in all that noise? What if you had a compass to navigate the chaos? Well, today we're going to dive right into that using Perry Kaufman's absolute classic, Trading Systems and Methods, as our guide. This quote from Kaufman, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that intense, gut-wrenching pressure of trading. You're constantly walking this tightrope between the fear of missing out on a huge rally and the absolute terror of getting caught in a nasty downturn. Every single decision feels huge, and that pressure is exactly why people start searching for a more structured, a more systematic way to do things.
So what's the real problem here? Why is it so hard to just, follow the news and make money? Well, the market is supposed to be driven by fundamentals, things like employment reports, company earnings, big global events. But as Kaufman points out, that data often isn't on time, and sometimes it's not even reliable. By the time you read that a company's in trouble or that an economic report is out, guess what? The smart money, the big money, has already made its move. The news is already baked into the price, and you're left playing catch-up. You're always one step behind.
And this is where that search for a compass really begins. Okay, so if trading on fundamentals alone is kind of like trying to sail with an old inaccurate map, then we need a better way to navigate, right? We need a system that lets us decode the market's own language and do it in real time.
And that system is called technical analysis. Now, this isn't about crystal balls or guesswork. The key word here is systematic. It's a systematic evaluation. The whole idea is, instead of looking outside the market for clues in the news, you look at the market's own data. You look at price, you look at volume, and all these other internal metrics to figure out where it's most likely to go next.
This quote from Charles Dow, who's basically one of the grandfathers of technical analysis, says it all. It beautifully illustrates the core philosophy. The theory is that the price you see on your screen already reflects everything. I mean, everything. All the hopes, all the fears, every earnings report, every expert opinion, it's all been boiled down into one single bloodless verdict, the current price. Your job, as a technical trader, is to just learn how to read that verdict. All right, so if we're going to read this verdict, we're going to need the right tools. Technical analysis isn't just one single thing. It's a whole toolkit, a collection of methods for interpreting that market map. So let's take a quick peek inside. And wow, what a toolkit it is. We're talking about everything from the basics, like identifying the main trend, the market's overall direction, to measuring momentum to see how fast it's moving. It's about learning to recognize classic chart patterns, understanding if there are seasonal or cyclical tendencies, and analyzing trading volume to see if there's real conviction behind a move. There are even behavioral techniques. Now, the goal isn't to master all of these at once, but to just appreciate the incredible variety of instruments you have at your disposal to make a more informed decision. Now, here's the really cool part. These tools haven't just been sitting around gathering dust. They have evolved, dramatically over the years. This whole field has transformed from kind of a manual art form into a high-speed, data-driven science, and it's all been powered by technology. Just look at this journey. You go from traders in the early 1900s literally standing over a ticker tape, charting prices by hand with a ruler, to the 1970s when the first computers made it possible to actually go back and test if a trading idea would have worked in the past. Then, boom, the 2000s hit, and you get the explosion of algorithmic and high-frequency trading, and today, we're in a whole new world of AI, machine learning, with huge institutions using complex algorithms for stock selection. The speed and the complexity have changed beyond recognition, but that core idea of finding patterns, it's still the same. Okay, but we need to talk about the most important part of this entire discussion, because no matter how sophisticated your tools are, whether it's a simple ruler or a complex AI, the hardest lesson and the absolutely most crucial part of the journey is understanding and accepting risk. Kaufman draws this really sharp line between the amateur and professional mindset. The amateur, they're always looking for that one simple trick, that secret formula for easy profits, and they get super emotional and frustrated when a few trades go against them. The professional, on the other hand, gets it. They understand that losing is just part of the game. They invest their time to really understand their system's risk profile before they ever invest a single dollar of their money. They don't treat it like a casino, they treat it like a business. And this is the key takeaway right here. Success in trading is not about finding a system that never loses. That's a fantasy. It doesn't exist. The real goal, as Kaufman says, is to understand the risks of whatever method you're using, make sure you have enough capital so that a string of losses doesn't knock you out or force you to make a dumb emotional decision, and manage your risk on every single trade. It's all about survival. It's about staying in the game long enough for your system's edge to actually play out.
So that leaves us with one last really interesting question to chew on. In a world where the markets are always changing, always evolving, what's actually more valuable? A super rigid, highly specific set of rules, or a more generalized approach that gives you the flexibility to adapt and see the bigger picture? As Kaufman says in his preface, loose pants fit everyone. And maybe the real art isn't just in building a system, but in building one that's robust enough to handle the curveballs the market is always going to throw at you.